Okay, you dear viewers, you're most welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Lukyamuzi. I'm a teacher of science, and we're here to discuss a few things in science, that is P3 level, primary 3 level. Please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can always press that bell for notifications so that whenever we upload any video, you can be able to watch it. Okay. Now, with science, we want to start with the environment, because it's what we want to look at in this episode. What the environment is, what does it look like, what is in the environment, or what does it even mean, okay? So you remember in your P1, you've been talking about the environment, you know the things around us, from the environment, you know which type of things are around us, okay? So basically, let's first of all know what science is, because by the time you left school, maybe you had discussed something little about what science is. So science is the study of living things and non-living things. The study of living things and non-living things. If I remind you back, way back in your primary 1, primary 2, you've been revising about this. What living things are, what non-living things are. You used to give examples of living things, you used to give examples of non-living things. Yes, let's remind ourselves. So when we talk about living things are those things which have life. They can live, they breathe, they eat, okay, they excrete. Alright? Those are the living things. They can be produced. They give birth to young ones. It can be either live young ones or they lay eggs. So long as they give rise to new ones, we say those are living things, and we call that reproduction. When you go to plants, they don't give birth to young ones, okay, but they reproduce through propagation. We do what we call propagation, where you get parts of that plant, you plant it in soil, it gives rise to a new plant. That's how they give rise to new ones. Okay? So living things reproduce, they feed. Feeding is eating. Eating anything that you put in the mouth and eat, it helps your body. That is feeding. Okay? Yeah, you'll learn about that when you continue in the higher level. Alright, so non-living things, those ones do not have life. They don't. I'm holding a marker right now, a marker pen. This one does not have life. It doesn't reproduce. It doesn't breathe. It cannot move. It only moves if I get it and take it to another place. But it doesn't move. It doesn't have legs. Okay. So this one is a non-living thing. If I look at a phone, it's a non-living thing. Okay. It doesn't move. It doesn't breathe. Neither does it feed. You give it food, it won't eat. Okay, the books you have, you look at these books, they are non-living things. They don't walk, they don't eat, they don't grow, nothing happens. Okay, these are non-living things. So non-living things do not have life, and they don't have all those characteristics we've talked about for living things: feeding, walking, or moving. You can talk of excreting, reproducing, growing. All those are not there. Okay, so those, when we study about living things and non-living things, that is what we call science. So science deals with living things and non-living things. Now when we go to the environment, we shall ask ourselves what the environment is. But before, we shall say science is the study of living things. Okay? Living things and non-living things. Non-living things. Yes, I will not again write what living things are and what non-living things are. That is from your P1, remember that. Now, if we go and look at the environment. When someone mentions environment, what comes to your mind? What is environment? Environment are the things around us. Environment are the things around us. Environments are the things around us. Around us. Wow. Whatever is around you, that is environment. That is environment. There are two major groups of these things that are around us, and those ones include the living things and non-living things. They are around us. Where am I now? I have a camera before me, that's a non-living thing. I have tables around me, I have books around me. These books are non-living things. Okay, the phone, okay? All right. When you look around your place, what do you see? Do you have a dining around there? Do you have a TV around there? Do you have a baby boy around there, your baby sister, your baby brother? Okay? Do you have a pet, maybe a cat, maybe a rabbit, maybe a dog or puppy? Yes, those are the things around you at that moment. Do you have buildings? Yes, now we can classify those ones you've seen around you. But if you have seen a cat, yes, a cat can move from one place to another. Then what comes to your mind? That's a living thing around me. Then, if at all it is a dining table, does it even move? It doesn't move. So, if it doesn't move, that's a non-living thing. You're holding a pencil, you're going to use it for writing. You have a book before you. Those are non-living things. If mom is passing around, that's a living thing, okay? If your dad is around, that's a living thing. If the dogs are around, the cats are around. So we can now group into those two categories, that things around us can be grouped into the non-living things and then the living things, okay? So I've earlier on told you that living things, one, they can move, they can reproduce, they can eat, or they can feed, they can excrete. To excrete is to get rid of the waste products from our cells, from our bodies, okay? So plants do excrete, animals do excrete. How do you excrete? You can breathe out the air, that air you're breathing out, that is carbon dioxide, is excretion, you're excreting. Sweat comes from your body after doing a vigorous exercise. You normally sweat after running. You normally sweat after lifting heavy objects, okay? So that sweating is part of excretion, because that's one way the body gets rid of waste products. That is excretion. This is the word we mean, excretion. So living things excrete, okay? They reproduce. Living things reproduce. They give rise to new ones, okay? Living things breathe. They breathe. Now, excretion, reproduction, breathing are common in living things. You also have respire. Living things respire. Okay? Living things respire. These two are different. Respiration is different from breathing. I don't want you to confuse the two. Okay? When we say breathing, that means you're taking in air and taking it out. When you take it in, it is used by the body, then you push it out in the form of carbon dioxide. What you're taking in is oxygen. Oxygen is needed for breathing. Oxygen is also needed for respiration. Then what is respiration? Now respiration involves food combining with oxygen. Those two are combined, they are bound together to release energy. In other words, when we respire, we get energy. Energy is the product or the main product of respiration, okay? So basically, that is what respiration is, and that's how it is different from breathing, okay? Now, what else? What do? They locomote, okay? Living things locomote. erase this. Living things, locomote. They locomote. To locomote is to move. Okay? They can move from one place to another. That cat you see at home, or that dog you see at home, it always moves up and down, goes this side and this side, chases thieves and all that. It moves, it can move from one place to another. Whereas non-living things like this one cannot move from one place to another, they cannot move. Okay? Now, what are the major groups of living things? If we can concentrate now on living things. Living things have life. Okay? We can say these are things. These are things which have life. Which have life. They have life. Okay? Having life, you should have these characteristics and more. Okay? They are not exhausted, and more. How do we group these living things? They are only grouped into two categories. You are either an animal or you are a plant. So they include plants, and then animals. Plants and animals. There are only two categories of living things. So whenever I talk of living things, what comes to your mind? It is either a plant or it is an animal. Okay? There are only two categories or two main groups of living things. Okay? And now we've seen their characteristics. Okay? They reproduce. Okay? They excrete. They breathe. They move. Okay? They grow. Okay? These ones all grow. They can feed. They can move. They can reproduce. Okay? Now, how do plants move from one place to another? Someone may ask, how is this one done? How do they move from one place to another? Plants normally move by dispersion. Dispersion is the scattering of seeds from a parent plant over a wide area. We reproduce plants using seeds. They give rise to young ones using seeds. So you need a seed, put it in soil, it will germinate, and you have a new plant. It can be a bean plant, it can be a maize plant. Okay? There are other ways we can do the propagation, maybe using the stems themselves. You cut a stem, put it in soil. For example, sugarcane. Yes, sugarcane can be planted using the stems. You cut the stem, put it in soil, it has buds. They are found on the stems. Those buds will grow and give rise to new plants. Okay? So basically, that's what we mean by propagation in plants. They move from one place to another by dispersion. It is us animals. Human beings are also animals. So it is us who take them from one place to another. You find a mango tree growing, maybe in a different area. It was got from some other area. You go to your granny in a village, you pick some seeds from there, bring them back to town. When you come to town, you tell your mommy, Mommy, I want a place where I can plant maybe my beans or where I can plant my maize. Then mommy will say, oh, there you go. That's the place. You can plant there. Then you go start cultivating by help of your parent, of course. Then after planting, they will germinate and form new plants, okay? So if we go and discuss now the non-living things. The non-living things, those are the ones without life. They do not have life. They can't do all what we've just written, okay? Those are non-living things. And you know examples by now. At this level, non-living things. Non-living things. It means they are not living. Okay? Non-living things. These are things which do not have life. Oh God, they don't have life. They are not like us. They don't feed. A stone cannot feed. Stone cannot eat. I always feel so happy when I look at kids. You normally play with your dolls, and you find someone babysitting that doll. This is my baby, I can give this baby food, they can even breastfeed them. The young girls, you know what you always do. So that makes me happy so much. But these are not living things. Your dolls are not living. They don't have life. But they are a replica of a human being. In other words, they are in the form of a human being. That's why you love playing with them. You would love to feed them, but please, they don't feed. Yes, my daughter tried it one day, giving it food, a doll to eat. But the doll could not eat. Then I told her, no, that's a non-living thing. So it's just for you to play with, but it's not a living thing. It does not have life. So you sometimes even talk to them. They are not living things. They don't have life. So characteristics of non-living things: they do not move, they do not breathe, they don't reproduce, they don't respire. Okay? Those are some of the examples of the characteristics of non-living things. Let's look at now the components of the environment. This word components, we want to go and define them, try to find out components of the environment. Components of the environment. They normally ask you to give some components of the environment. What does the word component really mean? If it comes to your mind, what comes to your mind when they mention component? What do they mean? What is component? Components are the things that make up something. They say components of the environment, they want you to give the things that make up the environment. What is the environment made of? What is the environment made up of? Okay? So, things including soil, we have plants, we have animals, we have buildings, we have lakes, lots and lots of things. Those are some of the components of the environment. Okay? So, components of the environment include soil. Okay? We have soil. We have animals. Okay? We have buildings. Okay? These are all components. Buildings. We have plants. Okay? We have plants. What else do we have? Lakes and rivers. We can call those water bodies. Okay? We have water bodies. etc. Plenty of things that are surrounding us. They are surrounding us. So these ones are the components. They normally ask you, okay, when we talk of components, this is what we mean. We want to look at something else, and those are the habitats. Okay? What is a habitat? A habitat. Habitats. This is very important in our study. Habitats. Now, a habitat is a natural home. A natural home of a living thing. A habitat is a natural home. A natural home of a living thing. Okay? Where living things stay. A habitat is a natural home of a living thing. Okay, you learned about habitats so often in your P1, in your P2, you learned about these. What are some of the examples of these habitats? Okay, now, you see, we talked of soil here, we talked of water bodies, even these plants, and even buildings. Okay, these can be habitats. A plant, a tree can be a habitat of an animal, because there are some animals which like sleeping in trees. Okay? Then we have bushes, gardens. Okay? Soil, we find many animals living in soil. Those animals which burrow the soil and make their home soil. Okay? They live in soil. We have seen them, especially insects. We have some crawling animals like snakes. They normally burrow. Okay? Rabbits, especially wild rabbits, they normally burrow. Okay? Some dogs, they form dens around there. They are those wild dogs. They have their, they dig something like dens where they sleep. Okay? Now, we have animals which are wild, like lions. You know, a lion also stays in a den. Okay? We have animals which stay in the bush. So a bush is a habitat to most animals, especially wild animals. For domestic animals, we normally construct for them habitats. For example, a dog, we make a kennel for it. Okay? The cows or the cattle, you can always make a byre for them. They sleep in a byre, that is, or a kraal. Okay? It is constructed by humans. Okay? Now, we have animals found in water bodies or swamps. They include the crocodiles. Okay? Habitats like examples. You can write examples. Examples of habitats. Examples of habitats include, okay, we have water bodies. This one is very important. Water bodies. We construct this with swamps, okay, or swamps. Some live in swamps. They like living in swamps. Okay, we have soil. Soil. We have the buildings. That is where normally humans reside. Okay? In the buildings, those are homes for human beings. Okay? We have the bush. Bushes. Some animals would love to stay in bushes because they are wild animals. They are not tame. Okay? They always stay in the bush. Okay? If not bush, you can talk of forest. Forest. Animals like monkeys, you know monkeys like jumping from tree to tree. They enjoy the forest so much. Even in the forest, you can find lions there. In the forest, you can find cheetahs there. You can find chimpanzees there. Oh, a forest can have plenty of animals, even birds. But birds normally like staying on trees because that's where they construct their nests. So, a bird lives in a nest, that is its habitat, but a nest is found on a tree. Okay? Alright, after looking at all that, you can have an activity here. Those who have not got books from school, please endeavor to pick those books from here so that you can follow closely with what we are looking at. Okay? So we have an activity which you will have to do in your book. If you haven't got it, tell mommy, tell daddy to help you get that book. Okay? So I'll leave you with that activity, and it is on page 2. That is where you will find an activity to write. It asks you about the environment, what environment is, then the 4 components of the environment, whatever we have learned. So importances of the following components in the environment, like plants. What do we use plants for? What do we use air for? I've told you can use it for breathing because the oxygen is important for breathing and also for respiration. Okay? Then they ask you examples of living things, non-living things, and so on. The list is endless about the questions that you're doing in your activity. Yes, I want to talk about soil briefly because that will be our next item on the agenda. That is when we meet again. But I want to introduce it such that when I come, it will be easy for you, and you also do some research about soil. So, soil has a lot to do. Soil itself, remember, it is a habitat for some animals. It is a layer of the earth's surface, or the soil that covers the biggest layer of the earth's surface. Though the earth is made up of water, 3/4 almost is water. We have oceans, big oceans, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, all those are so massive water bodies. They house a lot of water. So, soil is the top layer of the earth's surface. The top layer of the earth's surface is what we call soil. Now, we shall have words that I'll leave you to read, to meditate upon, such that when I come, you will find no problem with them. Words like clay, we shall have clay, we shall have loam, okay? We shall have sand, okay? These ones are very important during the study of soil. We shall have new words like aerate, okay? That word, aerate, we shall see as we go along. What does such a word mean? What does aerate mean? We have moisture, okay? We have moisture. We have rocks, okay? These are things that you will find along the way, okay? We have words like particles, okay? We need to learn all this, okay? I selected a few, not all, but a few, okay? Vapor, and I'll try to explain some of these, okay? Now, clay, loam, and sand are types of soil, okay? Clay soil, we have loam soil, also have sand soil. These ones are the types of soil we have, okay? Clay soil is normally used for pottery work or ceramics, okay? Where we mold things. We normally use clay soil. And how does it look like? In the next session, we are going to see all these ones. Clay soil has fine particles, very tiny particles, and it does not allow water to pass through it easily because of the small air spaces in the particles of soil. Then loam soil is that we use for cultivation. The farmers normally use this. If you grow anything at home, you are using loam soil. Then sand soil has big particles and it's used for construction of houses. Okay, we can also use sand for making glass. Okay, now these are all types of soil. Aerate simply means to allow air into soil. Okay, how is this done? Soil normally has air spaces in it. So when air comes, it can enter through those small holes. That is what we call aeration. Then moisture. Moisture is water in small quantities. That is moisture. You look at cloth. If you have a piece of cloth and you put water in it, try to squeeze it, water will flow out of it. And that cloth will stay moist. We shall say that piece of cloth is moist. It has some little content of water in it. That is what we call moisture. Rocks are like stones. They are very hard. We use them for many things. We use them for building purposes after cracking them down. Okay? They form small stones after cracking them. They are big stones formed especially on mountains. Okay? Then particles are those substances that you form after breaking down any piece of any object. The small pieces that you make, you form, those are what we call the particles. So soil has its particles. There are the small particles there which form soil. Then vapor. Vapor is simply water in gaseous state. When I say gas, it means water has changed from being a liquid now to a gas. Now that is what we call vapor. You all know when they give you food, hot food, there is that smoke coming out of the food. That is what we call vapor, okay? When you're boiling any substance, you see that there's some smoke, steam coming out. That is what we call vapor. All right, I want to end here for this lesson. And I please request you to stay calm, observe the SOPs, wear your mask, wear your face mask. Do not move around on the village. Don't visit people. Stay at home. Stay safe. Always wash your hands with soap, clean water and soap. Wash them properly well. Do not touch things that you don't need to touch. Do not sneeze in public. Try to wear your mask. And when you are going out, in case there is a day you're going out with your dad or your mom, try to put on your mask and always sanitize. I wish you all the best for now. Until we meet again in the next lesson, I stay your host, Teacher Isaac. All the best and many blessings. Stay safe, please. God bless you. I love you. Bye.